Hi, friends. Welcome to Ancestors Week. This week, we're going to be talking all about ancestors. We're going to have some definitions and some cultural and spiritual, biological, all kinds of stuff about ancestors. We're gonna I have my little notes over here so I don't forget anything. We're gonna have signs that your ancestors are reaching out to you. We're gonna have ways to connect and heal. We're gonna have a fun quiz, and we're gonna close the week with a guided ancestral meditation to call in your ancestors. So it's gonna be a fun week. So the concept of ancestors is really deep, multifaceted, and exists across cultures, spiritual traditions, and disciplines like anthropology, psychology, and of course, metaphysics. Here is a thorough overview from various different lenses. Um, Biologically and culturally, ancestors are people from whom you descend, right? Typically your parents, your grandparents, great grandparents, and further back. Every human has thousands of direct ancestors going back centuries. Genealogy studies bloodlines, for example. DNA testing can trace ancestry, linking you to specific regions, tribes, communities, and all kinds of family drama. Culture ancestry includes inherited languages, values, costumes, and beliefs, which may just be as impactful as genetics. Now, in the spiritual metaphysical community, across many spiritual traditions, as ancestors are more than dead, of course. They are living spiritual forces or energetic presences that guide, support, and even challenge us. And I have talked about this before when I talked about past lives or when I talk about spirit guides. Some ancestors can become our spirit guides or spiritual guides, especially in African traditional religions like Yoruba or Vendum, Native American spirituality, and shamanic traditions, and ancestors are revered, right? Called upon for wisdom and believed to influence our physical world. In some esoteric traditions, you inherit not just DNA, but spiritual gifts, trauma, karma, and missions from your ancestral line. For example, I fully believe that I have inherited some, if not all, of my grandmother's abilities, like Reiki and automatic writing, only because when I was learning those modalities, it almost felt like I was not learning, but remembering, right? Also, I strongly believe that I've done this work in prior lifetimes. So it makes sense that I would remember to do all these things, to have all these abilities. Um, Soul agreements are also passed through lineages, including both blessings and burdens, are believed to shape your path. Even science now shows that trauma and experience can affect DNA and be passed down. That's why some can be deathly afraid of fire, even though they never had a traumatic experience with fire or feel pain from an injury from a past life. Now, many cultures actively honor their ancestors through some rituals, and here's some practices. For example, some altars, like I have right here, with pictures, offerings, candles, and incense. Some offerings can be food or drink or flowers, especially on anniversaries or very specific ancestral holidays like El Día de los Muertos. Also through prayer and communication, through meditation, channeling, or automatic writing. Some people do naming ceremonies to honor the lineage or healing ancestral trauma through therapy or ritual or some kind of energetic work. Carl Jung introduced the idea of collective unconscious, which includes inherited memory and archetypes passed through generations. Family constellation therapy explores ancestral patterns impacting the present, while inherited trauma can show up as unexplained phobias, like I just talked about, fears or emotional patterns. A good past life regression practitioner can help a lot with this. Ancestral healing is a very growing field in spiritual and holistic work nowadays. And we use guided meditation or journey to a past life to meet ancestors, shadow work on family patterns, for example, Reiki and energy clearing on those lineages, past life regressions or ancestral regression. And what you're trying to do really is break cycles, for example, of poverty or addiction or abuse, reclaiming your ancestral wisdom, because when we reincarnate, we go through that veil, right, of forgetfulness. So we want to reclaim the things that we already knew from other lives. Liberating yourself from descendants, for example, liberating yourself and your descendants from all these karma and patterns, and or reconnecting with indigenous or spiritual roots that were lost or colonized. Some cultural perspectives for African diaspora. Ancestors are central. I mean, they're central. Ancestor veneration is the core of in Ifa or Santeria or Voodoo. The dead is not gone. They become elevated spirits that can be very helpful. In some native traditions, ancestors are part of the natural world. They live in the trees and in the rivers or in the stars. Native traditions really veneer everything in the earth. And you can carry 7 generations before and after in your decisions. Some Asian traditions in China, for example, and Japan, ancestral veneration is common through tablets or shrines or offerings. There's some festivals like Obon in Japan or Qingming in China honor the dead. And of course, a very well-known Latin American tradition is El Día de los Muertos, which is a beautiful example of a very joyful remembrance and communion with the dead, where ancestors can come. The veil is told to be thinner and come visit us in dreams or leave signs with birds or butterflies or songs or what have you. So I hope you stay for the entire week and interact and let me know of your experiences. And of course, ask me any questions that you would have, and have fun in our Ancestors Week.